Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to ARGAO National High School's Work Immersion Program, the Primer 2021. Mayong hapon sa ato mga tinahod ng mga ginikanan, guardians ug mga estudyante sa ARGAO National High School. Mapasalamaton kami sa inyong gigahin nga oras sa atong gipahigayon nga Work Immersion Program Orientation, ilabi na karong panahon sa pandemya, aron makahibalo kita sa mga bagong pamaagi ni ining programa. So, base sa K-12 curriculum sa DepEd, gikinahanglan nga tanan nga graduate sa senior high school kay andam na o preparado alang sa ilang mga napili nga karera or career after nila mo graduate sa senior high school. So, kaning mga karera pwede silang mamahimo nga manrabaho, magnegosyo o dili bakaha mag-proceed og pag-eskwela sa kolehiyo or college. So, to officially start our program, let us all listen to a prayer followed by the Philippine National Anthem, Sugbo Hymn, and welcome message from our very own Dr. Arnulfo C. Sarnilio, Master Teacher of ARGAO National High School.
Subuhan ang kapuputan sa habagatan, kinapusuran, lalawigan sa kabisayan, sa kaalam, adunahan, sa among gugmaog lumukan. Kanunay Senyo sa Ruso ninyo, makasaysayanon, maabi-abihon, madanihulog ang ay kagayon nga ipasigarbo. Subo pinangga sa klima ug panahon, kalinaw kauswagan, paluntaron palamon, bisan asa mudangan sa among papalingkamon, ikaw amo kanunay lahan lumon, ikaw amo kanunay lahan lumon.
Sa mga ginikanan o sa mga estudyante nga mitambong sa virtual orientation karong hapuna, sa akong mga kauban nga mga maestra, mga maestro, senior high school advisors, maayong hapon kanatong tanan. Pandemic has no place in a determined body and mind. More than a year has passed since this dreadful pandemic changes almost everything, our way of life. We slowly embrace things that are not part of our normal way of living. As we try to adapt, adjust, embrace the so-called new normal, things have started to normalize, and thanks God for that. One of the major changes felt among us parents and teachers is the new approach of the learning modalities. Introducing new schemes of pedagogical approaches that greatly affects home, school resources is a big challenge for all of us. And so, after a couple of months of adapting, changing, switching and adjusting to the new normal of teaching learning process, the smell of success is just around a corner. Hearing the word immersion program to all of us who are graduating and to the parents of these graduating students is a music to our ears. Why? Because the word immersion is synonymous to the last requirement or undertaking prior to graduation. And cheers, graduates or graduating students, because you are about to end the struggles of 2 years in the high school, senior high school program. The last obstacle to hurdle, therefore, before earning the senior high school diploma is the work immersion. What then is a work immersion all about? Now, according to the memorandum of the DepEd, the work immersion, even before the pandemic and during this time of the pandemic, aims to provide senior high school learners with opportunities to familiarize themselves with the workplace, to stimulate employment, and to apply their competencies in areas of specialization or applied subjects in authentic work environments. However, its implementation must be flexible enough to fit the complex setup and needs of learners during this new normal. The schools and the partner institutions in the country should work hand in hand in order to provide a meaningful work immersion experience even during these trying times. Since the schools are tasked to create their own class program per school year, it is highly suggested that the grade 12 TVL track learners be prioritized to undergo work immersion, while the other grade levels is to take other subjects and undergo work immersion when the normal condition resumes. And to shorten my speech, the very reason why we are gathered this afternoon is to give each one of us, students and parents alike, an overview on how we are going to conduct and comply this required activity so that we will be able to comply the last requirement prior to our graduation. In behalf of ARGAO National High School Administration, faculty and staff, I welcome you all to this virtual work orientation program. Mayong hapon ug daghang salamat.
Thank you, Dr. Arnulfo C. Sarnilio, Master Teacher of ARGAO National High School. So at this juncture, we will be discussing about the Work Immersion program. So the following are the frequently asked questions. So mao ni ang mga kadalasan nga pangutana mahitungod aning Work Immersion program. First, what is Work Immersion program? Unsa ba kaha ang Work Immersion? So ang Work Immersion is one of the course requirements for graduation. A senior high school student has to undergo work immersion in an industry that directly relates to the student's post-secondary goal. So, through work immersion, the students are exposed to and become familiar with work-related environment related to their field of specialization to enhance their competence. So, tanan gyud di ay nga senior high school, kinahanglan mo undergo ug mo complete sa work immersion para sila makagraduate. So, no work immersion, no graduation siya. So, ang work immersion, ang main purpose ani niya is to familiarize or introduce ang student sa ilahang future nga work environment pa karon. So, para mahimo silang mas competent ug mas familiar sa ilahang future nga work sa ilahang field of specialization. So, mao na siya ang work immersion program. Number 2, what are the objectives of work immersion program? So, the students are able to A. Gain relevant and practical industrial skills under the guidance of industry experts and workers. B. Appreciate the importance and application of the principles and theories taught in school. C. Enhance their technical knowledge and skills. D. Enrich their skills in communications and human relations. And lastly, develop good work habits, attitudes, appreciation, and respect for work. So all these objectives should prepare the students to meet the needs and challenges of employment or higher education after senior high school graduation. So kani nga mga objectives mo ni siya ang goal or target og ngano nga naay work immersion program og ngano nga needed siya or required siya to complete para makagraduate ang mga students. Third, is it essential or needed? Needed ba or essential ang work immersion program? Yes. The subject is a requirement for graduation. So students under the K-12 program must undergo work immersion. So wala ni siya exemptions. Number 4, are the students not too young to be in the workplace? So there has long been a common notion that companies are not allowed to engage youth below 18 years old. However, Article 139 of the Philippine Labor Code actually sets the minimum employable age at 15 years old. In fact, there is also provision in the Labor Code, Article 57 to 61, allowing for the employment of apprentices in highly technical trades as long as he or she is at least 14 years old. So, sa edad sa mga grade 12 karon, mostly 17, 18, 19, or even above, they are considered as employable na. So, 15 years old di ay ang giset nga minimum employable age sa Philippine Labor Code. So, no, these students, our grade 12 students, are not too young to be in the workplace anymore. Number 5, who are our partners? So, kay work immersion program man ni, kita nga school, makig-partner yun ta og mga different nga, let us say, establishments nga kung asa pwede maka-immersion or maka-OJT ang ato mga students. So, ARGAO National High School are choosing establishments that are located in the town that are accredited by the concerned agencies such as DTI or Department of Trade and Industries and the DOLE or Department of Labor and Employment. So, the learners will be deployed near to their place of origin. So, mostly sa mga students nato sa ARGAO National High School are from the municipality of ARGAO or neighboring municipalities like, let us say, Sibonga or Dalagat. So the students are gonna most likely be deployed to the establishments near their place of origin. So we are in the middle of a pandemic and we will be discussing further about that in the next slides. So, the following are the schemes for the conduct of suggested activities. So, employing the different learning modalities or blended learning approach which combines technology-based e-learning, distance learning, and traditional classroom-based methods, all schools shall ensure the acquisition of the academic requirements for senior high school without sacrificing the standards of quality education and safety and security of learners and teachers. The activities in all tracks can be performed in different schemes, which include in-school, home-based, community-based, and school-industry partnership. So, mo ni siya ang mga forms sa work immersion program nga gimodify to accommodate the students amid the pandemic. So, mo ni siya. First is the in-school. The school shall provide a mock environment given the available school facilities. Arrangements shall be made between the school management and parents or guardians, guided by the learning competencies. So, the senior high school learners will perform the activities. So, ang kaning in-school is, ang environment niya is in the school siya, within the school facility. And then, guided gihapon sa ato ang mga most essential learning competencies, ang ilahang mga i-perform nga activities. So, mo ni siya ang gitawag na og in school. Second form is the home-based. So, the learners shall perform their activities at home but will be monitored regularly by the senior high school teacher. This scheme is applicable only for learners with available materials, tools, or devices that can be used to demonstrate their competencies. Guided by the learning competencies, the teacher and learners need to select the activities to be performed. So, ani niya is home-based. So, kadalasan sa itong mga students karon in the middle of the pandemic is home-based gyud tatanan. Kay mag-practice man ta og social distancing and so sa pagkakaroon nagkadaghan pa man ang cases sa COVID-19. So kaning home-based kay mao ni siya mga kadalasan nga i-utilize sa ato ang learners karon nga panahona. So at the comfort of their homes, i-monitor sa teacher and applicable siya for learners nga naay available nga mga materials, tools, or devices. So the third form is the community-based. So the school may arrange with the government and non-governmental organizations such as local government unit or private sector the necessary environment. So the students can participate in government's projects, community development activities, and other relevant community projects guided by the learning competencies. So kani siya is involved ang ato nga government o mga non-governmental organizations. So ang students kay pwede na to sila i-deploy ani nga mga LGU or mga NGO sa atong community. So, aning nga community-based is naa sila involvement or participation directly sa ato nga community. And the last one is the school and industry tie-up. So, aning nga scheme, the school and partner institution shall arrange the needed environment of learners provided that physical distancing is observed at all times. So, naaman jay mga majors or strands nga nakinahanglan gyud sila nga ang learners ma-immerse gyud sa physical environment of the work. So provided nga ma-follow ang mga required nga mga protocols, health safety protocols sa ato nga IATF, pwede na siya basta na physical distancing and then ka-swab test ba karon na negative ang atong students, but magdepende ra gyud na siya sa option o sa choice sa students. So mao na sila ang atong mga scheme sa work immersion. And then question number 6, who will pay for the learners' board and lodging and fares? So the parents, kamo mga ginikanan in particular, are our number one implementer of this program. So it is our concern that parents will shoulder the expenses incurred in this undertaking. The school is scarce enough to expedite all the proceedings considering the volume of learners in the grade 12. So right now, we are in the middle of a pandemic. So most likely, wala na ni siya ang ato ang mga bayranan sa board and lodging o family sa mga estudyante. So ingon ta nga dili na kaayo kuan na nga to ang mga bayranan kay most likely home based ang atong mga students ba karon og dili sila mo choose sa community based in school or sa industry tie up nga scheme sa work immersion. Number 7, will our learners receive salaries, wages, and etc. So, mga benefits ni sila. Makadawat ba og sweldo og kanang allowance ang ato ang mga estudyante? So, as stipulated on the Memorandum of Agreement, our partners will not be obliged to give remuneration to our learners. It's the partner's discretion to give rewards or special arrangements like free snacks, meal provision, or transportation allowance. The school is not forcing them to do so. Fees for work immersion must only be set after consultation with parents. So, dili obligado nga to ang mga partner nga negosyo or establishments nga mohatag og allowance sa atong mga estudyante. Naara gyud na nila sa ilahang agreement or sa ilang discretion kung maghatag ba sila og mga rewards or allowances. So dili siya forced nga maghatag sila. And then number 8, are the students and school going to pay the partner institution for any work immersion activity conducted in their vicinity? So magbayad ba ta sa ato ang partner institution? Schools and students will not be asked to pay the partners for any undertakings our students as rental and or services conducted by our students. So, wala tay bayran nga bisag piso sa ato nga mga partner institution para maka work immersion ang atong mga students. Do the learners have to be physically fit before going on with the work immersion? Yes, it is very necessary that learners have to be physically fit, hence some of the undertakings, physical, emotional, spiritual challenges in the workplace. It is necessary also to require them with barangay clearance, police clearance, and medical certificate. But actually, it just depends on the workplace kung mag-require ba sila ani nga mga documents, mga health documents from their mga interns or kaning mga nag-work immersion nila. So, it could be optional na siya. Number 10, what is the required hour for the completion of the work immersion? So, the minimum requirement for work immersion is 80 hours for our learners. So, before the pandemic, ang gi-require sa TESDA guidelines sa textbook and TVL to follow the TESDA standards kay 240-hour work immersion. But now nga, naata sa pandemic, tanan nga strand, academic ba or academic track or TVL track, 80 hours na lang tanan nga work immersion. So, di na ta mag-follow aning sa 240 hours tungod kay i-consider po ang situation nga naata sa middle of the pandemic. Next, what happens to our students after completing the required numbers of hours in the work immersion? So, the students will receive a certificate indicating their completion of the required number of hours. They will be back to school to continue the remaining subjects for their course. They will also submit their portfolio acquired during work immersion. So, after ko no sa work immersion is mag-submit sila og kaning gitawag na tuog portfolio. So, after nila nga makakuha sa certificate, mag-compile sila og comply sa ilahang portfolio as well as maghuman sa uban nilang mga remaining subjects sa ilahang course. And number 12, what is needed in order to have a successful implementation of the program? So, the successful implementation of work immersion will depend on the strong collaboration, support, and commitment of the school personnel, partner institution, parents, and the students. The care and diligence of the players involved in their undertaking is necessary to have a smooth and memorable first-hand experience of this program. So, needed gid ani ang cooperation and support. So, ang students need siya mo cooperate with their teachers and need to cooperate with their mga supervisors sa ilahang work. Ang parents pod kay gihangyo pod namo to support and to follow up pod sa ilahang mga estudyante. So, this should be a collaborative effort from the school personnel, the teachers, the partner institutions, or kadong mga establishments ug asa mag-work immersion ang mga students, ninyong mga ginikanan ug ang students para mahimo nga successful ang work immersion program. Also, we have come to this slide, responsibilities of the learners. So the learners, he or she shall attend pre and post immersion activities, report to the work immersion partner institution supervisor during actual immersion, perform the duties and tasks as indicated in the prescribed template for work immersion list of tasks or activities, and prepare the documentations and reports required in the curriculum and by the partner institutions. So, ang mga students is kailangan sila nga proactive gyud throughout the whole work immersion program nila. So, ang work immersion, it does not only happen during the actual immersion program, but napod tayo mga gitawag og pre and post. So, before and after immersion activities. So, mumuyanta aning pre. So, naamtay mga preparatory discussions with the teachers, na mga preparatory lessons. Muyantag post, meaning ani kay after. So, after immersion na sila yung mga ipang-accomplish or comply. Like katong example kanina nga, portfolio. In which ang ilahara nga work immersion teacher ang mag-introduce nila ana ug unsa ilahang mga needed to comply para ma-complete nila ang ilahang work immersion program. So, during the work immersion, kailangan ng mga students mo report gyud maybe daily or unsa may naagrihan sa with between sa students o sa partner institution nga supervisor. Daily report ba karon, weekly or monthly ba karon, ana. So, perform the duties and tasks as indicated in the prescribed template. So, naman ni kaning checklist ang kaning students nato sa ilahang work immersion. So, dapat i-perform nila ang duties and tasks. Dapat mahimo silang responsible enough para sa ilahang mga tasks or trabaho. Kay work immersion naman ni sila. So, mao na siya. And then, prepare the documentations. So, kadong mga documents nga maybe optional ra or magdepende sa kung unsay i-require sa partner institution. Okay, so here are some of the example requirements or documents for the work immersion program. So, pre-immersion, before sa immersion, mao ni ang mga requirements. First is a memorandum of agreements. Then second, we have the resume. So, magbuhat og resume ang students. Application letter, optional na barangay clearance, optional police clearance, optional na medical certificate. So, mao ni siya ang mga optional nga laboratory tests like urinalysis, chest x-ray, and stool analysis. So, optional rin na siya or as required by the establishment. And then, napod tayo gitawag og job interview rating sheet. Dapat pasado sila. And then, attendance or compliance to work immersion topics. Dapat always present na sila ug always sila nga proactive ug mo-comply sa mga work immersion topics. And then number 9 is self-assessment guide for TVL strand track students only. And then natay gitawag pod og parents permit or parents consent. So mao ni siya ang mga pre-immersion requirements. So ang uban ani is magdepende lang gini siya kung unsay gi-require sa ato nga partner nga establishment. And then naatay gitawag og immersion proper. So these are the requirements for the immersion proper. Number 1, brief history of establishment, office, department with picture of establishment or company. Number 2, description of products and services. Number 3, description of customer or clientele. Number 4, organization structure of establishment or department or office. Number 5, company or department's rules and regulations in a narrative form. Number 6, duties and functions of the work immersion learner, narrative form. Number 7, daily accomplishment journal. Number 8, daily time record or DTR. Number 9, computation of hours rendered. Number 10, nature of work in narrative report format on the work describing students' participation in safety, production, maintenance, quality control, quality assurance, customer satisfaction, housekeeping, and others. Number 11, work immersion supervisor's rating. Number 12, business or department's process flow chart. And number 13, pictorials with captions for documentation. So, mao ni siya ang mga important nga data nga kailangan i-take note or i-take into consideration sa mga students, sa atong learners para ibutang sa ilaha nga portfolio. So don't worry kay ang mga work immersion teachers kay maghatag na sila sa mga template or checklist og unsa may gikinahanglan sa ato nga learners para sa ilang work immersion. And then lastly, napod tay post-immersion. So after immersion, mo ni siya ang mga i-comply sa students. Number 1 is portfolio. So kaning portfolio nag-contain atong mga data nga naa sa during immersion nga mga requirements. So kadtong 13 ka buok. But depende na siya kung sa i-require or ihatag sa ilang work immersion teacher. Number 2, updated resume. So, pang-apply nila sa kaning mga partner establishments na to, mag-pass man na sila resume or kaning application letter. But after immersion, mag-accomplish po sila og updated resume wherein ibutang na nila dito kung asa sila nag-work immersion sa ilang job experience. And then number 3, reflection paper. So this should contain reflection on the whole work immersion program process. And lastly, certificate of completion. So after nila work immersion, makakuha sila og certificate nga naka-complete na sila sa immersion. And note, other documents and reports not in the list but deemed necessary may be submitted during the immersion program. So, maybe i-add or i-deduct sa mga requirements ang ilahang work immersion nga teacher or supervisor sa ilahang work immersion program. And then we also have here the safety in the workplace. So, workplace and facilities available to students and teachers should ensure the safety of students within their areas of operation at all times, which shall include the provision of personal protective equipment or PPE if applicable. So, aside sa PPE, kailangan ta karon during the pandemic, if ang student is dili siya home-based, mag-need siya og face mask, face shield, hand sanitizer to protect herself from the threat of COVID-19. So, pwede po na siya makonsider nila nga personal protective equipment or PPE. Second, ensure that the students will not be exposed to hazardous materials and working environment throughout the duration of the immersion. Number 3, follow the safety rules and guidelines established by the company or workplace. So, responsibility na sa student para mahimo po silang safe throughout sa ilang work immersion. Confidentiality in the workplace. So, when we say confidentiality, something confidential, not allowed nga i-share to others. So, mao man na siyang gitawag na itong confidential privacy. So, all information on technology, manufacturing process standards, quality assurance, methodologies, quality standards, production capabilities, raw material purchasing, marketing, finance, and all other related documents, manuals, operational and technical matters that the company shall make available to the student shall be used for the sole purpose of student training only. So all of these matters are classified as confidential in nature and are proprietary to the company. So naman na sila rules nga kanang dili pwede i-share ilang recipe ba karon, for example, or ilahang kaning pila ang ilahang profit every month in ana. So mo na gitawag na to confidentiality. Bawal na sila i-share or ipagawas outside sa workplace ang kana sila nga mga information. Okay, so tentative date for the start of work immersion program. So nanatay tentative nga date, di pa ni siya final nga date. Tentative date for the start of immersion for all tracks will be on April 26, 2021. So for academic track, ABM, UMS and STEM, TVL track, home economics, cookery combination, and caregiving, ICT, agri-fishery. So in case of absences, personal or sickness, learners will have to replace the numbers of hours not rendered. So kung absent, kailangan i-complete gihapon nila ang hours. So for example, naka-absent siya og 4 days ana nga particular day, iha na nga pulihan og another 4 hours ana nga kuan para ma-complete ang iya nga 80 hours nga minimum requirement sa work immersion. Okay, so here are the contact persons. So naandiri ang mga pwede nilang makontact if na sila yung mga questions makaron. So Mr. Crescente J. Piniol, mo siya itong principal. And then natin yung mga work immersion teachers for different departments like ABM, UMS, STEM, caregiving, ICT, cookery, agri-crop. So, pwede gini sila ninyo i-approach. Okay, so at this point, muna ni siya ang mga work immersion orientation schedule. So, karon ni siya, General Parents Orientation online. And then the rest would be the offline schedules. Okay, so we are done with our orientation for the work immersion program. So thank you so much for being with us and spending time to listen to our orientation. And I hope that naatay nakatunan na bahin sa ato ang work immersion program. And for any questions and related inquiries, pwede ra gid mo message or mo contact sa inyong nga advisors. So mutabang na gina sila. So I hope that everyone will stay healthy and stay safe during these times of pandemic. And thank you so much for listening. So daghan kayong salamat and good afternoon. God bless.